Hey, you guys asked for it, and we're gonna show you how to store a two-stroke air-cooled and water-cooled bike. Pretty much the same, whether you're just storing it for the winter or for your collection where you're not planning on riding it again. Pretty basic, most of you guys probably know this already, but obviously we do a full detail of the bike. We want to get it as clean as possible so we're not leaving any debris on the bike at all. I usually, when I know I'm going to do that, I'll tear down the bike pretty good, take all the plastic off, and strip as much as I can. That's easy, and it's just so much easier to clean that way. The filter, I always, especially if you're going to store it long term, I either put a new filter in and do not oil it. Over time, and you guys have restored bikes, probably have seen this, where the bike hasn't been touched for years and the filter looks fine, and then you touch it and it literally disintegrates. So don't oil the filters if you're going to store it for a while. If you can find, and they're cheap, just a cover, and take the filter out and just store it with the cover. It's just simple plate. A lot of companies make them for watering your bikes, or sorry, watering. It's not a plant. So if you're washing your bikes, that's a great way to store it. But I just use a clean filter, no oil. Another thing too, just for condensation, we're in Arizona, so you don't have to worry about too much. But we always use some type of plug. Like this is a perfect example. It just reduces any condensation going into the exhaust system, into the cylinder head. Next thing we'll do is change the oil. Always put fresh oil in it. I know some people store the bikes with no oil. I like storing my bikes with fresh oil. We take the gas can off the bike, and I rinse it out really good. And if I know it's gonna be, like this bike for example, stored and not used for years to come, I'll actually use like palmolive and hot water, let it sit in there and do a couple rinses that way. And then I'll take SC1, which is like a Maxima sort of detailer, and I'll spray the inside of the gas tank with it. It just helps, I think, from makes it smell better, but also it just gives it some type of a lubricant to the plastic. And that works well for me. And then if I know I'm gonna use the bike again, I'll obviously rinse out that really well with race fuel. That will pretty much remove any residue in there before just filling up with gas again. The carb, definitely want to empty the carb. I clean the carb and then store it perfectly clean. So that way, if I ever take any bike that I haven't used in a while, literally you should be able to just put fuel in it. And if it has radiators, put radiator fluid in it, and it should start up. So I always clean the carbs out, make sure they're perfect. I always make sure I keep air in the tires, so air up your tires. I run, when I ride them, 12-11, that's sort of my magic number. 12 front, 11 pressure in the back, but storing usually 14, and even the bikes in the collection, once a month, I'll just check them and just make sure they have air in them. For bikes that have radiators, obviously I'll flush these out really good. I don't use conventional radiator fluid in my bikes for racing or riding. I just don't like any harsh chemicals in them. So I use engine ice. That's part of my it's just one that I like a lot. We used it when I raced super bikes, and that is just, it's a non-toxic. You can get on the track. It's not gonna make any of the conditions slippery, anything like that. So, and it works really well. So all the bikes I race, like the 83 and 86 CRs, that has been amazing. So engine ice is my friend. That's what I use. But again, I'll make sure everything's drained. What else? Grease the chain really good. I don't really put too many products on the bike. You can spray SC1 and things like that if you think it's gonna help store the plastic. But I try and keep all the plastic, the seats, from any type of Armor All or any weird chemicals like that. I just want it to breathe naturally. I will condition the tires, and that's really it. So pretty easy, you guys. If you guys have anything else that you think people should cover with the 2-strokes for storing them, please comment below. That'll definitely help us out. I'm not a perfectionist with storing the bikes, but you know, it's just common things like that that you'll know. Another thing too, obviously with like the 81 CR450, it has drum brakes, but for like this 86 where it has the hydraulics, the brake fluid you would want to change. I would. Again, some people drain it, but I like having it in there because at least it keeps the seals better. So I just drain it, put fresh fluid in there, and that's it, man. I'm trying to think of anything else that we usually do to the bikes, but pretty straightforward. So comment below, subscribe, we'll have more content coming, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching.